chapter 14, verse 19. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanupashyati gunebhyascha param veti madbhavam sodhigacchati. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. So,
Prabhuji, your screen is not visible.
no, I'm not. I've changed my. I'm using a book.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. When one properly sees that in all activities, there is no other performer except the modes. This is very important. So, can somebody tell me what this means? What does this mean? When one sees that in all activities no other performer except the modes, what is the practical implication of this in our life?
Material nature, Prabhuji?
No. So, thing is that in all activities there is no other performer except modes of nature. Yeah, material nature. Except these three modes, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. There is nothing else except these three modes. Now, how does this change or how does it affect the way we deal with our life? Do any of you see any implication because of this? Okay.
It is the predominant nature of these modes that initiates the actions of Jivatma.
Yeah. So, what is the implication of that for us? See, when we read Bhagavad Gita, we always have to think about it from a practical application perspective. So, what is the application of this? We are bound to the reactions of our karmas. Okay.
Right.
Papa and Punya, Prabhu.
No, what does it mean? What is the implication? Implication means what? Like, if you are hungry, you will eat food. So, implication of hunger is that you will eat food. I'm saying, what is the implication of this?
We behave in that mode. We behave in that manner, which is the predominant guna, whatever the individual has. We behave in that manner.
Okay, let me ask a more pointed question. How will this help us deal with other people?
Okay, if we are aware through reading of Bhagavad Gita, if we are aware that there is a predominance of these gunas in each individual's action, in case we see someone with a tamo guna, we can recognize it and, we can respond accordingly.
We should respond accordingly. So this is the one which will change the way we deal with our relations. Okay, so generally we are affected by relations, right? By people around us, isn't it? Most predominantly people are impacted by other people. This person spoke like this person said like this, that, this, half of the time we are just worried about what others are doing. Okay, so this should change the way we look at people and the way we judge people, the way we express our emotions towards other people. Everything should change because they are not the doers. It is their own past karma because of which everybody is behaving in a particular way. Except for pure devotees who are completely under the control of the Supreme Lord. Everybody else is just, it is all just manifestation of the modes. So this is very important so that we now become slightly more responsible about the way we react, respond to other people and what they do. Okay. So two things we have to know. One is that in every person whom we see, one, there is Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord as Paramatma is there in their heart. Second is that whatever actions are being done by them is just a result of the modes. So he attains by spiritual nature. That is why the other way of putting this verse is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Brahma Bhuta, one who sees only Brahman everywhere, only the Lord, as in not merging type, saying that there is Lord, then there is Atma, and Atma is currently conditioned because of wanting to exploit material nature, and that's what he sees. So when we see only this, only Atma and Paramatma, and everything material as just a result of our wanting to lord it over material nature, to become the enjoyers, then we come to the stage of Brahma Bhuta. That means that we don't look at the bodies, we don't look at material dealings, we simply look at the soul and the super soul. So let's see what Prabhupada has to say. So verse is saying that such a person attains my spiritual nature, because nature of Supreme Lord is he is Parabrahman, meaning he is spiritual. So we will also attain spiritual nature. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from the proper souls, simply by understanding them properly. That is why Bhagavad Gita, these last 6 chapters are just so that we can understand modes. The real spiritual master is Krishna and is imparting the spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn this science of activities in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, because Prabhupada is telling us this, so we can actually understand. Otherwise, it's very difficult to make this distinction or understand that the modes of nature are actually in action. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected, because we will then only keep looking at externals. We will never go inside. We will never see deeper, right? By the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know of his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is trapped, how he is under the spell of material modes of nature. He is helpless, being in the grip of these modes. But when he can see his real position, then he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. That is why Prabhupada, in earlier purports, he said, it is not just enough if we know that we are not the body, we are spiritual. We have to act on the platform of spirit soul. Acting on the platform of spirit soul means that we should engage in devotional service. Otherwise, just theoretically knowing that I am the body is not going to help us, because that is just theoretical knowledge. Practical knowledge is that, okay, because I am not the body, I am spirit soul, I should engage in Lord service. And when we so engage, only then we can actually realize how till we came to the platform of engaging, to the stage of engaging in devotional service, how we were completely bound by these ropes of material nature, how we were so helpless. Those who have been chanting and doing devotional service, we can actually see that, we can see how today we are a little free. We are a little free, I'm saying. We're not fully free, because when we cross the Anartha Nivritti stage, then we'll be fully free from the modes. Currently, we are partly free from the modes, which means at least there are situations where we can control ourselves or prevent our natural response. Our natural response. This is what we call as person's nature. So from childhood, we would react to certain situations in a certain way. That is all being driven by the modes. Many people say, no, I'm so, I'm so stuck. I'm like this, I'm like that. And I just don't think anything can change me. As in, even after coming to bhakti, they feel that their modes are more powerful than bhakti. which is unfortunately it is ignorance, because bhakti is so powerful that we can really transcend anything. We can definitely transcend the modes, and we would have experienced it. So, for example, to make it slightly more easier to comprehend, if somebody is by nature angry, we would have seen over a period of time that our anger has reduced. The number of situations in which we are getting angry has reduced. This is moving from being helplessly driven by the modes to getting some control over ourselves and transcending the modes to some extent. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. Actually, the living entity is not the performer of different activities. He is forced to act because he is situated in a particular type of body conducted by some particular mode of material nature. So we are forced to act. So we are not actually doing this in a very independent fashion, or like out of our free will. And this is also very difficult to distinguish between free will versus being forced by karma phala. Sometimes actually it looks like we are being forced by karma phala, but actually that was an opportunity for us to express free will, and we might have expressed our free will, which means that free will is our choice to go against our nature. Meaning, if we behave in a way that pleases Krishna, Guru and Krishna, even if it was against our nature, that is our free will. For example, generally when I get upset, I become angry, but now say I chant Hare Krishna, that is the use of my free will. And when we use that free will specifically to engage ourselves in bhakti, that is when we can actually see that, otherwise, if suppose, say, for example, you have to take left or you have to take right, and both of them were material options, then you can't really make out whether it was your free will or whether it was your karma phala that took you, in this direction or that. But when one of it is a material option and the other is a purely spiritual option, pure devotional service, and we choose that pure devotional service, then we can clearly understand that I'm using my free will. Otherwise, mostly, there will be situations where we use our free will as well, but most of the times we are driven crazily by the modes without having any control over ourselves. Unless one has the help of a spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. That's what I was saying. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position, and by such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of the material modes of nature. So this is the underlying statement. A person who is in Krishna consciousness, which means what? Who is fully in Krishna consciousness, is not controlled by the modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. So this is also important. It's not like, we shouldn't expect that overnight we suddenly become some big change we bring in ourselves. Yes, that is possible to some fortunate souls, but otherwise it generally takes little time, not a lot of time. Gradually doesn't mean that it takes lifetimes. No, it takes a little time because so much of anartha from so many lifetimes. If we desire very intensely to get out of it, it can happen. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the material modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter. Okay, so there's a repeat of the same lines. Okay, so this is clear that even in our life, modes of nature are in action. When you see others' lives, modes of nature is in action. But only when we are helplessly being driven by the modes of nature, unless a person comes to Krishna consciousness. And when it comes to Krishna consciousness, from the time we come into Krishna consciousness to the time we become fully Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious, to that extent, we will be under the control of modes of nature. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. To the extent we have surrendered to Krishna, to that extent we will be free. And what is the effect of being free? That we will actually do our real duty, which is to serve Krishna and not try to engage in sense gratification. So the effect of modes of nature will cease. We will become free. But it takes little time, patience, and endeavor. Okay. Anybody has any questions? Is it clear? Can you see this in your own lives? Can you see that you are becoming free from the modes of nature slowly and steadily? Yes, no, all right. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Verse 20. Gunanetanatityatrīn dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityujara dukkhair vimuktom mrutamashnute. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. Okay, this is beautiful. How do we enjoy nectar even in this life? We can become free from birth. We understand that. Okay, next we will not take birth. We will become free from death. How is that possible? We will become free from old age. How is that possible? So this is basically, this is a very important thing to understand. Anybody wants to share your thoughts on how we become free from death and old age?
We are so immersed in Krishna consciousness that we do not, give importance to what's happening to our physical bodies.
Okay.
Our mind is forever engaged in Krishna consciousness and, the pleasures of divine pleasures that we enjoy. So
Okay.
there is no effect of whatever is happening to our physical body, is it death or old age. We are not scared of it. And, even if there is death in the earlier chapters, Krishna has mentioned that when you think of Krishna, even when during your last stages of life, you don't really concentrate on what's happening to yourself.
Okay.
So I think that's the
Okay.
that eases us from the distress that comes along with the consciousness of your body.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else wants to say anything?
And that's a natural state, Prabhu, of not getting birth, death. That's a natural state of us, Jiva. But we are in this condition right now that we think we are going to be born again, going to die in the material body.
Yes, Prabhuji, actually by understanding that we are Atma, not the body.
Okay, that's what Gaurav Prabhu also said. Okay. Any other thoughts? Anybody?
Prabhu, basically, I think what Krishna Prabhu told. So once we got that realization that we are not a body and we are a soul, and that has no death, and that is eternal. So that is why we won't be, or we will not be worried or scared about death, because that is never existing until we get back to Goloka.
Okay. 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 So there are a few things to think about here. See, first thing is that we become free from birth. Okay, so practically when we engage in devotional service, we come to the stage of perfection. That means that we don't need a material birth. So we overcome birth. How do you overcome death? For a devotee who is engaged in devotional service, to the extent of his surrender to Krishna, to the extent of his engaging in devotional service, to that extent his material body becomes spiritualized. To that extent the material body becomes spiritualized. So if one becomes completely Krishna conscious before the time of leaving their body, that means now their body is actually not material, and it has transcended the effect of time. What is death? Death is a process of influence of time on things which are material. So which means that there is a time when we have to leave this material body and take another body. Now for a person who is fully Krishna conscious, there is no question of material death because his body is no longer material. So how can time have any impact on that body? So actually he doesn't have death. Okay, but the Lord, because he has created this world and there are some rules, so just as a matter of formality, the devotee goes through something like a death scenario. Okay, but because his body is already spiritual, he will simply move from this material world to the spiritual world. That's it. There is a process. Okay, so let me explain this way. There's also another process where we lose material body and get spiritual body, but that is if suppose say we are 99% there, but maybe 1 or 2% not there, and Krishna decides to show mercy and we are able to remember his name at the time of death, or because of other devotees mercy, we might not have already become 100% spiritualized, but then by the mercy of devotees and Krishna we will give up this material body, which means that we'll go through a process of death like we see in the life of Narada Muni in his previous birth. As a boy, he gives up his body and then he says immediately, I got my spiritual body. So that can happen. For somebody who's completely Krishna conscious, their body is completely spiritualized, so they don't have death at all. And old age, because like I said, same phenomena, right? Old age, death, all same phenomena. The material impact of time in terms of sufferings on the body will not have happened. So there is actually no old age. And then like Yamani Mataji said that, on another platform, because we are so engaged in Krishna consciousness, that we don't experience the distress that is happening, though we might be going through the pain. And now, see, we should understand one thing, that for some devotees mentioned about realization. Once we realize that I am not the body, now that realization, when it happens, is the Brahmabhuta platform. Right now we are in theory. We are in the theoretical platform. Theoretical platform to practical platform takes a lot of sadhana. So when we go through material distress, only then we can appreciate this. Right now we are in a theory class. When we go into the practicals, which is called life, and when Krishna decides to test us, okay, now that you know that you are not this body, let's see how you deal with this situation. So how do we realize how much we are stuck in this? If we respond to our office pressures, if we respond to time pressures, if we respond to how we respond to other people and the way they are treating us, etc., etc., all this is a reflection of how much we really think we are the soul. So if you are letting any of these things, small, medium, big, any of these material situations affect us, then we are still in theory mode. We still have to do sadhana and come out. But one who is able to transcend that, he will enjoy nectar even in this life. So that should be our goal. We are not here to enjoy anything. We are just here because if we come to that platform, then we will actually achieve Swarupa, our original constitutional position. That means that we can then serve Krishna in our actual eternal position, and that is great, because that is very good, because that pleases Krishna. What is pure devotional service, and it will please Krishna. And when Krishna is pleased, we become pleased. That is the perfection of life. We are not here looking for any kind of happiness. We are here only looking for Krishna's happiness. Please note this. We are not here for looking for even spiritual happiness. We don't want spiritual happiness, because if Krishna is not pleased, then we don't want anything. That should be our mode of pure devotional service. Okay, we'll read the purport. How can one stay in the transcendental position even in this body in full Krishna consciousness is explained in this verse. Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. Embodied means one who possesses the body. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the modes of nature. He can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky. So this is the thing that some of you said about we not having any fear or anxiety about life. Yeah, that is also true. That also will be a source of peace and happiness for devotees. But the real happiness is about serving Krishna. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. So Prabhupada clearly comes to the point. We are not talking about any kind of engagement or happiness. We are talking about happiness that comes automatically when we engage in pure devotional service. That happiness is a reflection that Krishna is happy. Because if Krishna becomes happy, Jiva becomes happy. This will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. This is Brahmabhuta stage. We are now actually not entered into devotional service. We are entered into sadhana of devotional service. We are just practicing. That's all. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. This will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. So Prabhupada is again saying the same thing. Or maybe it's a repeat. So this is the whole thing, that we have to become freed from the influence of modes of nature. Only when we come to Brahmabhuta platform will we enter pure devotional service. But pure devotional service is so beautiful that even if we are doing mixed devotional service, the devotional service itself will bring us to Brahmabhuta platform. So we don't have to do anything different. We have to just keep engaging in bhakti, and over a period of time we will achieve all the progress that has to be achieved without even knowing. Even if somebody doesn't know what are the different stages, what he should be or he or she should be experiencing in life, which will indicate that they are making progress, etc. Even without any knowledge, we will make progress. Because bhakti, we have taken the right process, and the process is powerful and it works. Okay, so we'll stop here. It's 9. Any questions on this? Is it clear?
You were talking about the spiritual body, Prabhu. Can you elaborate a little more? Give us a little few examples.
Okay, so when we decided to come to this material world, so basically we are in the spiritual world. We had spiritual body, we had spiritual senses. In Vaikuntha, everything is spiritual because the Lord is spiritual. Lord doesn't engage with anybody who is not fully spiritual, because he is the supreme pure. He only engages with those who are pure. So that is why even when he wants to enjoy Veera Rasa in this material world, he sends his devotees. Jaya Vijaya came here because Lord wanted to fight. Whom will he fight with? He will fight only with his devotees, because he doesn't want to come in to get in touch with anybody who is not perfectly pure. So we cannot go back also if we are not perfectly pure. So this whole process is to eliminate the contamination. Now what is this contamination? This contamination is our desire to enjoy independent of Krishna. How does it, what facilities are we given for, have we been given? We have been given this material world, and to enjoy in this material world, we've been given a material body. When we get this material body, this is there in Bhagavatam. This material body, Prabhupada actually in Bhagavad Gita purports also is mentioned. The material body covers the spiritual senses. So this is in other ways contamination. So our senses are contaminated, and hence they can be called material, or they are covered by a material layer. So the whole process of bhakti is actually removing this contamination. So when the contamination is fully removed, the spiritual, original, pure spiritual senses manifest again, or they are allowed to act without the contamination that existed. That means that we are back in our pure state. And when we are back in our pure state, that means that the contamination is removed. In that pure state, we can directly enter Goloka or Vaikuntha, because the contamination is eliminated. Dhruva Maharaj, in Dhruva Maharaj, actually whole of Bhagavatam has multiple stories. So one is Dhruva Maharaj. Actually, in Dhruva Maharaj, because in 6 months, he's such a small boy, in 6 months he gets darshan of Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord touches him with his Shanku, and then he becomes completely pure. He's done, actually. But then the Lord tells that, okay, you had a desire to enjoy it. Okay, 30,000 years, you rule. 30 or 36,000 years, 36,000 years, you rule. And then you come to me. You will go to Dhruva Loka, which is spiritual Vaikuntha in this material world. So then actually it says, when the time comes for Dhruva to, finish his time in this body as per the Lord, the aeroplane from Vaikuntha comes. And then there is description in Bhagavatam saying that he just steps over death. Steps over death means because he already has spiritualized body. So he has to just get onto the plane, that's all, onto the Vaikuntha plane, and he goes to Vaikuntha. So he completely transgressed death, as in there is nothing like death as such. Just that Vishnu Dutas came, he got onto the plane and he left. And in that verse it says he just stepped over death, Mrityu. That's it. Put his leg on it and then got onto death became like a step. He just put his leg on it, and then he got onto the airplane and he went to Vaikuntha. That's it. So many instances are there in history of great devotees just going to Vaikuntha, like who's in Maharashtra, Santa Tukaram. So many instances are there. Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj is one that comes to my mind directly. Gajendra also, right? He was in an animal body. What about human body? So this whole process is just to remove the contamination. That's it. Of course, see, we should understand one thing. It doesn't mean spiritual senses means that we will be this height, this weight, like this, like that. No, this is all features of the material body. The spiritual senses are subtle. On that, the contamination, because of so many lifetimes of being in this material world and desiring so many things apart from Krishna, we've developed this whatever body we have in this life, but that doesn't really reflect our spiritual senses. So the purification, how do we know one is pure? When they engage their senses in Krishna service, to that extent we know that they are pure.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Is it clear for others? Any questions?
Probably one question. When we say body becomes completely spiritual, it means like what I understood. I'm not sure whether it is correct or wrong. Is it continuously engaged in the service of Krishna or continuously connecting to the God? Is it that?
No, that is absolutely there. Without that, body doesn't get spiritualized. But literally, the body loses. See, the material body has some characteristics, right? That it has birth, it has death, it has decay. None of these happen. Okay. Now, this is a very difficult topic to understand. Actually, okay, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks a little bit about this in his commentary on the Ajamila pastime. So he says that actually the Lord, we as devotees, we don't know actually what our real position is. Because if Krishna reveals our real position, then we might become arrogant or egoistic, and we might just fall. So Krishna doesn't reveal our real position. Okay, but what happens is that internally these changes are happening. Externally, everything just looks like business as usual, right? Like there's a body, it looks like there is pain, it looks like there is decay, everything just looks like it's just working on the material platform. But it will not be for a devotee who is completely purely engaged in Lord service. This is a camouflage. This is cheating. In some ways, the Lord is cheating the atheists, cheating the non-believers, so that they don't adopt this process. Because if they start seeing that everybody is becoming pure, everybody is achieving result, then they will see. Then see, it is very simple to understand why people are so engaged in material work with so much of vigor, and they put so much of effort, because they know, okay, if I work hard, I will get 100 rupees. With 100 rupees, I can buy this. It is tangible. So people are very happy engaging in something tangible for which they can see result. Okay, and which is of course of personal interest, selfish interest, right? Now, suppose a Lord starts manifesting these, effects on his devotees, then other, rogues, like Prabhupada used to say, rogues and rascals. So they will see that this, oh, by doing bhakti, one can achieve all this, and they will also engage in bhakti. But Krishna doesn't want that. Krishna only wants the purified souls. So we will not tangibly see anything visible. It is just inside. It is the mood of the devotee, which nobody can understand except the devotee only can understand. So though these things are happening, actually it will not manifest to us. We cannot see that. So this we have to understand and accept what the acharyas are saying, that this is true, this is what is happening. And one way of understanding that is to the extent that the devotee is engaged in service without really caring for his material situation, right? Like I keep giving this example of His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj. He's so much on that platform that whatever is happening is just not bothering him at all. Right? Whenever there's a little bit of bother, just okay, whatever needs to be done externally is servants, secretaries, etc. They take care of things, and he's just engaged in Krishna consciousness. Right? This is a real, like for us, current day, we can see this in action. That the devotee's body is beyond material control, material modes, because it's 100% spiritualized. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So then we'll call it a day. Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Samaveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay.